Hello and welcome to Wizards, Warriors and Words, a fantasy writing advice podcast. I'm Jed Herne, author of The Thunder Heists, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, starting with Dirk.
I'm Dirk Ashton, author of the Paternus trilogy and artist of everything Felix ever drew.
And Mike.
I'm Michael R. Fletcher's Hangover, author of some stuff. I can't remember.
And lastly, Rob.
I'm Rob Hayes. I'm ill, but I'm toughing it out. I'm here.
I respect the commitment, Rob. That's the kind of commitment that we have come to anticipate on this show, so very proud of you. And we are joined by a really special guest today, Felix Ortiz. Felix, say hi to the show.
Woo! Everybody, I'm just a name for Dirk's art, so to do all that stuff, but it's really...
That makes total sense. So Felix, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do? Because we've had some authors on this show before, but I believe this is a podcast first because you are a very talented artist.
Thank you. If you say so.
I say so.
What I do two things. I'm an art director. That's like kind of my part-time day job. And then I also, well, you guys know I do covers for fantasy books, mostly indie books, and I do usually just illustration. Once in a while I'll do lettering, but it's mostly just illustration, and I've been doing that for probably 3-4 years. How old is your book? Never Die?
January 2019.
So probably a year before that, year and a half before that, I started maybe doing like consistent, not just once in a while, but like more consistent.
What was your first cover?
The first cover was I posted on Grimdark, said, all right, I want to try my hand at this. So the first person who writes me a coherent kind of brief on Facebook messaging, I'll just do it. And I had like 5 different messages. Dude, what's this? Is for real? Would you like to do mine? As I was very specific, just write a blurb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Timandra Whitecastle was like the next day actually wrote, well, I want a this and that. That's it. You're it. So, and I started with that one, and then just slowly built kind of by reference and just posting stuff all the time. And
Which was that? Which cover was that?
It was she published it a while after. It was like a novella, like a shorter.
Yeah. The with the wave and the
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember that. I remember when that all started. Yeah, I didn't realize it was your first cover. That was a great cover. It's a great novella too.
Yeah, I still need to read it, but it was. I looked at it and I'm thinking, oh my God, I would have done so much different now. You learn so much.
That's how I look at my books.
What was the name of that novella again? Blood Witch?
Blood Witch.
Blood Witch.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cover now. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
What I like best is that she also hired Tommy Arnold to do a few of in the same world. So sometimes she will do promos where my cover is next to Tommy Arnold's, which is awesome. Yeah. I love this guy's art. You know, he's kind of one of the top dudes out there. So, yeah,
he is.
That's awesome. So Felix and maybe Mike and Rob, you guys can chip in with this. Just wondering if you could kind of go through some of the book cover art that you've done for, the people on this show, because I know you've done quite a few for Rob. Quite a few for Mike as well.
Yeah.
5, soon to be 6, then possibly 8 by the end of next year.
Nice.
I haven't actually talked to him about that yet, but yeah, I've got more covers to throw at you soon.
You have been ambushed.
Rob.
So, what books have you done the covers for? So we've got Never Die by Rob. Rob, do you want to?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, do you want to hold up the ones?
Over here, but oh god, yeah, I'm going to knock things over. But
So for people on the audio only feed, Rob's just holding up the book covers that Felix has done from him. So you can jump over to our YouTube channel and check out this episode if you want to see them in video form. So he's holding up Never Die at the moment.
I love that cover.
Which Felix
that
did.
one.
Pawn's Gambit.
Pawn's Gambit.
Yep.
Which is
by Felix.
The sequel that's not a sequel. And then
there's
Along the Razor's Edge.
Mm-hmm.
And Lessons Never Learned,
which is my personal favorite Rob J. Hayes book.
And then
I love that book too. It's really good.
From Cold Ashes Risen.
Yep. One thing that always amazes me, the sign of a great artist, for one of the signs of a great artist for me, is the ability to switch styles so drastically and have them be amazing every time. And that's one thing Felix really can do. My favorite artists can do that so well.
Oh, stop it.
John Anthony Giovanni can do it too. He can.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He can switch, but yours are amazing, absolutely amazing.
I think it's he can definitely switch around, and I try to, but there's always a signature sort of. When I see an Anthony painting, I know he did it.
Really?
Yeah. Even Thor will put it out. Anybody else, like, it doesn't matter. And same with other artists that I follow, because as an illustrator, you zoom in and you study each stroke.
Yeah.
How they use color, how they paint faces, how they, so when I see an Anthony Giovanni, I know that's, even with just a glimpse.
Yeah.
Same with other people.
I'd say it's similar to being an author. I mean, let's be fair about this. If I pick up a Michael R. Fletcher book, I know I'm reading a Michael R. Fletcher book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mostly because there's spit on the first page.
Yeah.
I thought it was the tender rom-com elements that gave it away.
I think I've been typecast here. I don't know.
Mike, do you want to show the covers for the books that Felix has done for you?
Yeah, so I'm just going to show the first the covers for the first two books. So this is Blackstone Heart.
That cover is amazing.
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
It's completely mental. I basically sent Felix like a paragraph or something of like kind of a rough description and ripped a bit of stuff from the book, and then he just made it real, which was like incredible. And this sort of gives you an idea of the sort of flexibility, how different this is in style.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cover for Smoke and Stone
and Lines. Cover. That's the First City of Sacrifice book. And so what I love is he's got like captures the flavor of the two different series, and each book that he's done, because he's done book 2 for both of those series. It's really true to the to the flavor, to sort of what I'm trying to do with those books. I can love it. It's insane.
I'm glad you guys keep hiring me. So
I'm glad you keep saying okay.
Okay.
And
the second one was fun because the second one is full of zombies everywhere, and I drew all of them, but like each one is like, okay, this guy's gonna be looking this way and like that, and this one's gonna be a woman, this is like a short guy, and the second one, if you zoom in really deeply, you see there's cats, like zombie cats, and all kinds of little things.
Just did the 2 foot by 3 foot stretched canvas of that cover. Okay. It's back there behind me. I haven't hung it up yet. And when it's blown up that big, you can see everything. And all of Felix's covers are like that, because I always do the big like 2 foot by 3 foot stretch canvas prints of every book. And every one you blow it up and you're like, oh fuck! Like it just gets better. There's all this stuff where you're like, oh geez, what's that guy in there? Like, it is very cool.
Sometimes I want to do for stuff like that where you have many little things, details and stuff. Sometimes I want to share those little corners before the cover is revealed, but I don't, I don't want to bother with asking people, can I share this? But I would love to like share like the zombie jaguar or the zombie gorilla like in the tree or something, or the monkey, you know, stuff like that.
This is my favorite one you did. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but it's not going to show up too well. You put a corgi on the back of the gambit.
That is a cool level of detail.
Yeah.
I was looking for I actually got a Gickley print, a good larger Gickley print of this for myself. I was going to show that, but this is what Felix did for me for the interior of the special editions of the Wrath of Gods hardbacks, and I love it, and everyone else loves it too. But also, you know, another different style, you know. And the ability to hit an angle like that, that's hard. I know how hard that is.
It's hard for me too.
Yeah, but you nailed it.
Right.
You also work. I remember. He's like, okay, I'm getting started on it. Like the next day, he has this like beautiful sketch, and I'm like, okay. And I think my only comment was, don't forget the earring. And like 20 minutes later, here it is.
He's good at that. I mean, to be honest, the Along the Razor's Edge cover, it was a completely different cover to begin with. We were working on something completely different, and then I was like, I feel like I want something a bit more classical. And then Felix goes, okay, I think I know what you mean. And then the next day, he literally just goes, how about this?
Yeah, that I actually, with Rob's covers, there's two stories about that. For Never Die, I didn't have, at the time, I was really like life things were going on. My daughter was being born or was very little. I had no time to paint. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I love the first trilogy, the first, you know, the first Earth. Like, I love this book. This needs to be perfect, you know. And I put so much pressure on myself because Rob was the only, if I remember correctly, the first kind of big name in author, like indie author, kind of, you know, I guess subgroup. And I was like, this has to be awesome. So I love his books. He won this competition, you know, and I put so much pressure on me. I was going insane, but in the end, it worked out. And Sean did awesome design, and it worked out. For the Esca one, he wanted that kind of more inky, kind of loose monochrome. And I've done that before, but I also put a lot of pressure on myself because I don't really do that all the time. So it took days and days of me trying different things, and you know, it came out okay. But then, you know, we talked more about the book itself, and I realized, oh, maybe this needs a more regular approach, like a regular fantasy but dark, you know. And I did that one in probably 6 hours maybe, but if you notice, it's fairly simple in the sense that it's the main character. There's the shadow in the back, and the background is a cave, so you don't really need to add too much stuff. So it was more about the Esca having a lot of contrast, and yeah, and I liked it, and I showed to him in a sec, and I think your girlfriend said went like that, right?
Yeah. That's the one. That's it. It was like,
yeah, and that was the end of that. And so I redid the second one too, to kind of, you know, match kind of the same. And if you notice, she kind of I did it so that she gains levels as she goes up. Like in the first one, she's at the bottom, and then the second one, she's in the middle, and then the third one, she's perched with her wings and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it goes up because she's like, you know, becoming kind of like the demigoddess kind of thing, you know.
Oh, that's not even her final form. You gotta wait till book 5 until she gets her final form.
Yeah, I read the first two. I'm behind on your series. I read the first two of all of your books, but I tried to mix it up with other authors. So then right now I'm reading Alec Hudson's The Flying Turtle.
Oh yeah.
yeah, really fun book. And then the next one,
I am gonna forever from now on call that book The Flying Turtle.
that,
That's not what it's actually called, is it?
it's Shadows of Dust, but I just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Flying Turtle has like a. That's how, in my head. That's the title. The next one's gonna be Melinda Spencer's Dragon Mage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm
Did
just
you do
reading
the
that at the
Like
moment.
that big, and he has awesome reviews. So I just
Did you
wanna,
do the first one? You didn't do the cover for the first.
no.
No,
Dragon
no.
Mage
You're
is the
just
first-
reading the books. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm
Okay.
trying to like mix it up with different people, different styles.
It's
You get so much reading time. It's a real struggle.
I mean, it's an incredible bonus, I think, for us that when an artist is a fan of fantasy and loves fantasy books, because a lot of artists, especially once they get to a certain point, they're doing it as a job, and that's what it needs to be. But a lot of them don't read fantasy, but the covers are still just as good. But I personally think when an artist is actually a fan, an active fan of the stuff, there's a certain life that comes out in the art that wouldn't otherwise.
And I did not know this, but Tommy Arnold actually reads the books before doing the cover.
Mm-hmm.
I
All
find that impossible to do because
Yeah, that's rare.
it's like at least 3 days for me, 4 days if I don't know, if I'm really fast, 4 days, reading like man, finding that time, like I don't know.
And you can't expect an artist to read your book before they do it, because it is such a time commitment. Giovanni used to. I don't know if he still does, but he used to read the books. I think he's so busy now that he can't. He just.
I mean, if Felix was reading every single book that he put art on at this point, he'd be on like 7 or 8 books a month, is it?
Yeah.
I swear, a month doesn't go by where I don't have at least one of your covers in my self-published release list.
Yeah.
I wish I could read 8 books in that's Patrick Leo.
Yeah. Oh God. No, that's a week.
Yeah. A slow one.
Yeah.
So Felix, I'd love if we could talk a little bit about your process with designing these artworks. So you mentioned before that, having a pretty clear brief is really useful for you as an artist. So can you talk us through what the process is like from an author approaches you through to the finished artwork that is, looking beautiful and amazing?
So, I mean, obviously I'm speaking from my own experience, because I think a lot of other artists have more of a very like a very set process. I feel like I'm more flexible. The less details I get, the better, because I like to do my own thing. But there's always specifics. Like I know Rob's characters have specific little details, so I expect that from him.
I can give you less details if you want. I'll just be like, I don't know, make it look good.
It's totally fine. Like, have to adjust, but because then what I do is, let's say Michael says, I want a horned demon, right? That's it, nothing else. All right, then I start asking questions like, but where is it, and what happened to, like, what's the story, what's the tone of the book, or so I ask a whole bunch of questions. So eventually I do get to the level of detail that Rob gives me from the very start. It's just different approaches for different authors. Then after that, depending on the type of book, I do probably between sometimes only one sketch, because I feel like this is it. And if they don't like it, then I do more. But sometimes I do 3. And if I can play with it, because the elements are easy to move around, I can do sometimes 6 with the same elements, just moving them around to see like which one works best for the author. Sometimes, like one of the latest, the character takes half the cover and the demon is way in the back. Then on the next one, I scale the demon up all the way, as like the main image, and the character is like a tiny. So it depends on what the author would like to see. And then after that, it's pretty. I try to focus on only one cover at a time. So once I get the brief and I started sketching, from then on, it's just that cover, and it's a back and forth. So I sketch, I send the sketch out, I get feedback, I polish, and so on until it's done. And I feel like the hardest part is towards the end, when you've looked at it for like 16 hours and you're like, oh, what else can I do here? So that's when it's really helpful when the author has like good visual skills, or has a good idea of what they want, and they can tell you, oh, maybe move this, or more color, or you know. Also, I want to mention Sean, because he's a great art director.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I started with him, I was like, oh, who's this guy? Like, he does lettering. What does he know about illustration?
Yeah.
I've learned so much from that dude. Sean
Yeah.
is like, he's like a kind of like a partner. We work together so much that I trust him, and he'll give me pointers. Like, I worked on one recently, which coincidentally has some kind of demon on it. And he said, what if you add this like green like smoke? Like, God, that's it. Boom, I did it. And the author loved it, and we all liked it. And so at the end stage is very important, because that's where you really see like things you can make better. Just the polishing. Sometimes you don't know how much polish it needs. Sometimes it's done and you mess it up by trying to put more stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know how much more detail you want me to get into, but you asked me. But that's kind of like a very, very general approach. I don't do contracts. I hate it. I say, I give you your paint, you give me your money. That's it. We're good.
Yeah, and that, and when you're working with someone you're comfortable with as an author, having worked in the film business, everything is contracts. Everything you must have. So I actually had contracts with the first couple of works of art that I worked with, and then I realized that I was so comfortable with working with these people, they're not gonna freak out if I use it in an ad, the same image, or things like that. So I haven't bothered with one in a while. I think the last one I did was, no, I didn't even do them for the maps, for the special editions. So I don't do them. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up is that cover art has a special kind of requirement that you have to always keep in your mind. And I wonder sometimes how difficult that is when you're first starting out, is that you're talking about a specific aspect ratio, front, and if you do full wraps, and back, and specific, and you also have to design so that there's room for titles, above, below, on the spine, for blurbage and other information on the back. So was that a difficult transition for you at first?
Yes,
Just quickly,
still is.
sorry to interrupt. Just before we get into that, I'm thinking we might end this episode here and then do that second question as the beginning of our second episode.
Yeah.
There's
a teaser. There's a teaser.
Yeah. There's a teaser. There's a teaser. We don't normally that organized. So to be continued, for you listening there. This should have the second part come out next week. So sorry to put a pin in there, but we do want to split this over 2 episodes, just because we're getting a bit long on this one. So we'll see you all next week. Thank you for listening, and see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.